A lot of fire department, sheriff too. I don't know. I think the people get themselves into trouble in the outdoors. Like the other week, I was reading about this couple that fell off of a peak in the mountains here, and they went hiking apparently in their sweats and light puffer jackets with zero supplies, zero preparations, and they fell down 800 feet. That's right, 800 feet, and they survived several days in the snow on the side of a mountain before they got rescued, which is pretty gnarly. They both had fractures. Neither was, frankly, in critical condition somehow. I think because there was two people, they were able to use each other's body warmth. But search and rescue did save them. And I thought that was a pretty incredible survival tale. Obviously, though, don't fall off of the mountains. And that's not what's supposed to be happening. But back there, I saw a bunch of fire department at a trailhead. And I don't know what's going on. I hope everybody's okay. It didn't seem like it. And like that hike has like a lot of climbing. And it's off-road. And then like the fire couldn't even get, it seemed, through the off-roading portion. Because their trucks are too big and too heavy, I think, for like sand. So that's not good. That's not good. If you're planning on going out in the wilderness, please have a plan so that somebody can actually rescue you. Because otherwise, these people go off in the woods or in the desert and they have no communication devices. They have no plan. Maybe they, the new iPhones, right, have satellite capabilities. They have, emergency locating, capabilities. But even that is not perfect. Even that is not perfect. So don't do that. Like, live, survive. Like, man, this person's got some bright headlights. I mean, thankfully, I've never had to be rescued before, but I actually have like a plan. Like, I have a satellite, messaging device. I have even insurance, frankly, because depending on where you get rescued, they can charge you for that. Like, it's expensive to get rescued. You need to be helicoptered out. And I just hope that's not what's going on there, because, I mean, there is a moon tonight. It's not totally dark, but that's not what you want to be doing on your Saturday. It's just not. So, I don't know. I'm always somebody who, like, people see me sometimes, like, going into, like, remoter areas. But, like, anymore, I just try to, like, frankly, stay on trail, especially if I'm filming it and I'm planning to put it online. Like, I'm not trying to show people how to get off trail and how to get lost. Like, I was actually thankful today that there were, like, there was posts with rocks on top of them that I could kind of, like, follow. Like, even though, like, I'm very skilled in the outdoors, I have a lot of experience, like, it's nice to have that reassurance that you're following the correct trail, because sometimes there's so many different trails going different directions and it doesn't work. So score one for getting out of there at least. Like, I didn't encounter any other hikers today. I saw one person near the trailhead who was taking like a sunset walk, but there was no other hikers where I went, and I crawled into a cave and I went to a more remote palm oasis. So life is good, and I hope everybody is doing well. There's only so much you can do to be safe, but these days, for a few $100, you can bring some seriously powerful technology onto your side. And for those who are like into the outdoors, it's life-saving. It really is. It will save your life, and that's really, really, really important for obvious reasons. And like, I would say I haven't had some dangerous shit happen to me, like having guns pointed at you repeatedly is dangerous. Spending all your time driving in the mountains, driving on the freeways. I mean, frankly, I feel more in danger usually in the city, just because of vehicles, than I do driving in the mountain roads. But it's a mixed bag for sure. And like really, like I think highways, and then too, like I'll be honest, like I used to drive in South LA every day, and like I wasn't as afraid of getting caught in like crossfire as I was like getting into either head-on collision or getting just like plowed into from the side. What's up, Ruthless? I had a beautiful day. I had an absolutely beautiful day in some Badlands, having a good time, like being me. And you have to enjoy like the quietude of nature, responsible. And I think that like more people need to get outdoors. Obviously we don't get people outside as equitably as we should. And like this is part of the problem, I think, a lot of the time. At least like in Los Angeles, the people who are getting rescued so often, it's teenagers who don't have a lot of outdooring experience, and they get themselves in over their head because they don't know where they're going and they don't have a plan. I need to read the audit still, the federal homeless audit. It is on my list of things to do. It's like 160 pages. I mean, once I read it, I'm gonna read it really, really quick. But like today, I was like, no, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna have a good time, do something different, chill, and like shout out a person for like letting me go. Like, thank you. Like, slower traffic, get out of the way. And like, I'm actually kind of happy. Like, I haven't been stopped in forever, thankfully. Like, getting stopped by police after a little while was getting really, really old. But like, maybe I'm just like getting better at like not getting detected, or maybe people aren't as after me as before. But the police are no fun, except for when they're rescuing you. And that's something most people don't realize, is that the search and rescue teams, generally speaking, are all sheriff's departments. So like if you're like the type of person who goes out, like gets wasted, falls, or doesn't like figure it out, like the sheriff is coming for you. There's nothing surprising in the audit. I was hoping there's gonna be at least like something like really interesting, and like I'm a little surprised that he couldn't come up with any waste, fraud, and abuse. Like, there has to be some waste, fraud, and abuse in there. Like, we're gonna find it. They lost 2,300 houses. That's not good. I mean, obviously, like, we have to keep building housing. There's actually a lot of housing construction going on out here. There could be more, but like, I think that like on some level you don't want to build over the entire like aquifer. Like covering everything in concrete and homes is not necessarily the idea. Why is that person on the side of the road with no hazards? If you're on the side of a highway, please have hazards. I'm sure there were holes. I mean, they didn't have the data. The data for the federal homeless audit in Los Angeles was not there. They just didn't get it. Fuel trucks. And it's gonna be a stoplight. So, I don't know. I saw the controller of Los Angeles did a video with his staff and they were dancing. I haven't like seen the like full thing, but I just saw that they were like kind of like, well, we could have done this for free, and I'm just like, yeah, but like that's not what they wanted to do. Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can audit. Like, auditing has limitations. like really it's the validity of what you can get. And then like, I mean, I think they need to audit the complaints. If you ask me, like, I'm gonna read it, and I think what I'm not gonna find is that they did not audit all of the different complaints that were received. And like, certainly, like, that's one thing I've heard, right, is that there's more complaints about homelessness, like, resources than they can investigate. So I think that's probably what I would audit. You have to have like fertile ground, right, for your audit. Like you can't get something out of nothing. And it's kind of like if you're in the desert and you see palm trees, usually palm trees mean there's going to be water, because you can't have nice leafy, I guess it's kind of leafy, palmy, frondy palms without there being water, and the water has to come from underground. Like, you have to have something coming from somewhere. And I wasn't getting the impression that they were getting that type of information or cooperation. So I'm not surprised that the much vaunted federal audit into homelessness was kind of a bust. Lots of casinos out here. I'll be honest, I'm not much of a gambler. I like things that are sure. Like, I like surety. Like, I thrive on things that are reasoned out, right? That make sense, that hold up under scrutiny. 1 + 1 = 2. 2 + 2 = 4, right? Not 5, not, some other digit. It has to add up. And like, certainly, like, one thing I've noticed, like, and like I did watch some YouTube today, right, is that like people's ability to reason and add things up sometimes, I mean, it's kind of, it's hard when there's things that you don't know that you want to know to come to any concrete conclusion. But there's other things, right, that are very sometimes suggestive. And certainly the fact that, say, the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority's contracting system is so foobar that even professional auditors can't seem to straighten it out is a little bit disconcerting. I mean, I think it's really telling in itself that things are so untrackable there that you can't begin to unwind it and unravel it. I'm like, unraveling things is something I always enjoy. I'm like, let's figure it out. Let's get to the bottom of this. But like, I'm honestly amused by people who don't figure stuff out. I'm like, you have to like want to figure this out bit by bit to use that inferential power that we all have, right? Use inference, infer things. Let your intuition get you to that next step, because otherwise, when you're jammed up and you can't figure it out, well, you're not going to figure out anything at all. You're just going to get stuffed, and you're going to get lost in the weeds, and you're not going to have meaningful, valid answers to your questions. And like, I want that. I like it when there's answers. I am somebody who thrives on there being solid answers. I'm like, get the solid answer, please. Like, let's get to the bottom of this. Like, let's like actually find out where this goes. And like, sometimes, usually, and like, this is something where people would disagree with me quite often. They think that things that are obvious are conclusive, right? Like, it has to be this. And a lot of the times it's not. A lot of times it's not A, it's B, right? It's A, not A. Just because people are saying something doesn't always make it true. And then, of course, like, there's a degree of truthiness to anything that you do that you're going to figure out. And I like figuring out stuff. I really, really do. I don't know why else I would want to be an investigator journalist if I didn't want to figure things out with a high degree of certainty, right? To really come away with something that you can bank on. And certainly, going back to the federal audit of homelessness that was just delivered, they were hoping it was going to be something they could bank on, but like it didn't come out quite that way. It had a limited validity because it could not get as much information as they wanted. I mean, the system is broken, but like the solutions that people are pitching are not necessarily going to change anything. And like, I mean, I think if I had to change one thing, I definitely think that they need to take away a lot of LAHSA's responsibility right now, because LAHSA has shown, the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, that it can't manage all of these different roles and responsibilities. So, take away, the immediate response, to housing crisis from them. Maybe reassign the contracting, right? Make it make sense in a way that actually hopefully starts to work, because having tens of thousands of people living on the streets is not a permanent solution. And like, one thing, is definitely true that people say is that permanent housing is what needs to happen, not temporary housing. The tiny homes don't work. You can't put people in the tiny little homes and expect them to thrive. They were never designed to be permanently inhabited. It's just not gonna stick. And like, things that are sticky require sticky solutions. Take away the nonprofit service providers. I think that some of the nonprofits have become way too self-assured. They don't have to worry about their funding stream, but at the same time, right, like, somebody is going to be the service provider, right? Like, it's just, there's not a lot of innovation happening there. But like, having government be the service provider, I don't know if that's going to make things much better. But there has to be a balanced solution. And like, I think the biggest thing here, right, is that the nonprofits are not being accountable to the government is accountable to people. So like, there probably should be an inspector general's office for this. I'm not sure who the inspector general of LAHSA is. It sounds like, the new Los Angeles County Housing Solutions Agency, La Casa, is going to have an inspector general, at least. But I'm not sure who the inspector general for LAHSA is. That was actually is a good question. And I know that the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development did do an audit a few years ago, that they had their OIG audit Los Angeles. But I don't know if they got into anything more concrete than this audit did. And auditing is a process. Like, good auditing that really comes up with solid recommendations because it uncovers the real problems. It's hard to get that. It really is hard to get that. Oh, so LAHSA does have an inspector general, says Ruthless. Holly Henderson, and I can't catch the other one. Dana Fries. They're the OIG for LAHSA. I guess I'm still learning things about homeless policy in Los Angeles. But it's gonna be a beautiful evening. It's heading towards the full moon cycle. Like, next Friday will be a full moon. It's risk assessment. Risk assessment is different than an inspector general. Risk assessment has to do with your risk as opposed to reporting internal problems. And like, there is a subtle difference between those two. Both are kind of compliance related, but there is a subtle difference between risk assessment and an inspector general. It's kind of a nice night. Not too cold. It's like 66 outside, which is like significantly warmer than much of the rest of the country. So I don't have any real complaints about that. I'm like, it could be cold, it could be blizzardy, it could be sandy, like sandstorms sandstorms. I'm still like getting used to like having like regular sandstorms coming at me. And America's supply chain right in front of you, keeping shelves, hopefully stocked. And like last night, I had quite a good rant about Donald Trump and this trade war, but I just hope that it doesn't bottom out the economy, because I'm seriously worried we're going to bottom out this economy in a way that's not healthy. It doesn't get really gloomy out in the desert. Like the basin, LA basin gets gloomy, but the desert is not that gloomy. It just doesn't happen like that. I used to live in I lived in Portland before. Like Portland could get really gloomy. Like you'd be like, "Where's the sun?" But like LA has pretty good sunshine, not like full desert sunshine, but it has good sunshine. And we all need more sunshine in our lives. Like habitual darkness is not what we want. I didn't see any lizards today. There were no lizards, there were no snakes. I did see, I believe, an owl after dark. I didn't even see any crows or hawks. I think it's because I was in some badlands. And the Badlands are cool. I like Badlands. We should all want to be that bad. And there's nothing wrong with places that are arid. If you need water, take it with you. But actually, I did find flowing water today. There was flowing water. So shout out to the people who have made water flow from the earth endlessly for our society. But I think it's kind of cool when it just comes out of the ground straight up naturally. That was a beautiful spring, absolutely beautiful spring. And there were bees everywhere, and then I dropped my hat and I had to go back for it, and my hat was just a little bit wet. I found a spring and a creek are different. That's kind of the beauty of the desert oasis, right? Is you find those palms, and then usually there's water somewhere. Usually there's water. Oh, police are here. I don't know what the police are doing. Oh, he got one. So, don't speed. They will get you. Busted by the law. He's in trouble. He's gonna go down. That's gonna be expensive. That person must have been really hightailing it. And in the day you can kind of see, but at night I don't want to speed like that. Yeah, I found water in the desert today, and there's definitely a talent to knowing where to go. Sometimes though, what's on the map is not accurate. Just because something is labeled, spring doesn't necessarily mean there's water there. And actually, there was a really famous case a few years ago where this guy died trying to go to a remote spring that's not actually a spring, or it's very seasonal, or they can get covered up. I would always just rely upon the maps. It's good to have some real actual scouted information. If you're gonna go wander around in the desert without being skilled and experienced at wandering around in the desert. And there's limits. There's always limits to what you can do. But I'm a believer. I believe things will get better. Keep looking, keep trying. Be prepared. Don't give up. And try to have fun. Have some fun in your lives. It's good to have fun. If it's all negative drama and anger and hatred, that is bad. That is very, very bad. So I hope everybody had a fun Saturday. I might go do something else fun still yet. Because you can have enough fun in your life. You have to be fun. If you're just an angry, frustrated person all the time and you don't do fun stuff, it gets really, really dull. And Jack is not a dull boy. Like, coming with a hatchet or something, you know, like, all fun, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Anyways, YouTube, have a beautiful rest of the evening. And it is true, we can all attest to that you do not want to be overworked, underappreciated, and in despair. Frogs should be singing. Like, they should absolutely be singing. And like, I'll be honest, like, the best place I've ever heard frogs sing was Malibu. Malibu has great frog singing. Like, you go sit at Zuma Beach and you just hear the frogs. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. So I kind of miss Malibu. Maybe I'll come back to LA. Everybody have a beautiful night. I'm out.